Welcome to Table Talk with Toddy, a podcast for millennials where we bring real-life topics on the table for real talk. I am your host, Natasha Toddy Weston, lifestyle entrepreneur and 3 times best-selling author. I'm a sucker for business, branding, and self-development, but I created this space to escape from the worlds we create for ourselves on the daily. Table Talk with Toddy is the epitome of having the girl next door right in your back pocket. So kick back, pour up, and join me each week for real talk, current events, and powerful conversations about life, business, and all that other ish. Welcome back to the Table Talk with Toddy podcast. Today is January 6th, 2019. This is episode 53, and I missed y'all. I don't even know what else to say. I missed y'all. It has been, 3 months since I've shared a new episode with you. I have been enjoying life and I have not been recording. I recorded one episode that I had planned on publishing before 2019 rolled in, but I said, you know what? I'm going to continue enjoying my vacation and my time to just have fun, decompress, not even really think about, honestly, what I was going to do in depth in 2019. I was just at one with the moments that were created between, October up until now. To be quite honest with you guys, I just needed some time away from creating, and that was probably one of the best moves I've made. Now, typically, whenever we get to the end of a year, it's like all about planning your goals and doing vision boards and all of the typical stuff that happens at the end of a year. But I did the complete opposite, and I'm going to tell you this, and this may not be for everyone, but I saw so much more success with just sitting back and pushing the things that I had already created earlier in the year and just focusing on clearing my mind and having some fun. So I'm excited to be back. I'm recording this episode while Tyler is gone because that's a whole nother deal, y'all. Tyler is a hot mess, okay? So I've rearranged my working space. Originally, I was going to turn his room into like a closet / recording space / playroom. But then I thought about it. I was like, recording and playroom does not go hand in hand. So I finally got a new desk. I finally have set up my little workspace where I can get back into the swing of things, where I can bring you some new content, some new episodes, because I've got a lot to talk about, y'all. In that time of me just decompressing and enjoying the holidays, time with my family, time with my friends, I've got a lot of new revelation. I've got a lot of clarity, and I'm getting a lot more understanding as to why things happen the way they happen. So outside of enjoying the holidays and time with family and friends, I also relaunched my sold out popular Launch Your Podcast Like a Pro masterclass. And this was actually the very first course I created back in 2016. So it was long overdue for me to wipe out all of the old content and give you guys a whole makeover on the class. So I relaunched it and I limited the amount of people that I was going to give access to, only because I wanted to essentially test it out and make sure that the content was actually helping them, that they enjoyed how I presented the information, and y'all, the feedback has been so phenomenal. And so I shut it down after it sold out. And you can now actually enroll. So if you are interested in doing what I'm doing now, I get tons of questions about podcasting, and it's just no way I can respond to everyone at the same time. So this masterclass is the answer if you are interested in learning how I started with less than $20. So if you are on a budget, sweetie, and if you want to start a podcast in 2019, go over to natashaweston.com/podcast class and sign up. And then when you sign up, hit me up on Instagram at officialtoddy and let me know you're in. All right. So the next thing is my transition into 2019. I don't have a long list of goals. I've got one major goal that I plan on accomplishing each quarter. As you guys know, I am back in the corporate world and thriving very quickly. So my time is super limited, which I think has worked out for my business because I'm not as available on a one-on-one basis. People are buying my books, they're buying the planners, they're signing up for the courses that I create because right now that is the only access that most people have to me. So transitioning into 2019, one thing that you guys have asked me for that I am going to, and I'm going to tell y'all right here, right now, it is opening up in February, is my branding membership group called Brand You HQ. This is going to be the top way that you can work with me one-on-one. On a one-on-one basis, that is, on a more consistent basis. So there's tons of you who've asked me questions. There's tons of you who've asked me to create courses. My membership is where it's all going to go down. So no, I will not be doing any coaching, at least not for the first half of the year, but the membership is definitely where you'll want to be. Make sure you're on my email list at natashawetson.com. More details to come. In addition to that, and we're going to wrap it up and get into today's topic, I am walking into a whole new business opportunity in quarter two. I'm not going to share any details. Just know this is a completely new lane for me, and we've been working behind the scenes since June of last year, and things are starting to slowly but surely roll out. I'm taking my time with it because it's something you guys have asked me about, and it's something I'm passionate about also, but I've always put it on the back burner because like branding has just kind of taken over my whole life. So in a nutshell, if you guys want to stay connected with me and see what's going on beyond the podcast, make sure you're with me at natashawetson.com. Connect with me on Instagram at officialtoddy. Now let's hop into today's episode. This is actually not the original episode I had planned on recording for you guys for the first one of the year. I had two other topics, but they were great topics, but I felt like this one was definitely more needed because it's the first of the year. One thing that I have noticed with myself, and I do think that this will serve obviously as a great lesson to you all, is majority of you guys who listen to the show are entrepreneurs. If you have not already launched a business, a brand, then you are considering it. So what I tend to see a lot happening, and I'm guilty of doing this as well, is that we get these ideas to launch businesses, to embark on different projects, to step into different professions, and we're all hopping into the same pool. Now, the industry that you're in is the pool that you're in, right? But the problem that I found with my own endeavors and the way I was going about trying to grow and gain clients and get new customers was totally all wrong. So I don't know how many of you have read the book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. If you have read that book before, hit me up on Twitter at officialtoddy and let me know. It's hands down one of my favorite all-time books. I started reading it about 4 years ago, and it's one of those books that I continuously revisit. Actually, I loaned it to a friend, and she never gave it back to me. So if you're listening to this, can I have my book back, please? But I'm just kidding. If you're interested in checking out that book, I highly recommend, especially now, because we're in the beginning of a fresh start of a new year. Check out the link in the description. Go grab a copy of the book, even if you buy a used one, and read that book from start to finish. It will change your whole life, I swear. The thing about what's happening, especially in the entrepreneurial space, is that everyone wants to swim in familiar oceans, and you really aren't thriving. Having a business is amazing. It sounds great to say you're a business owner. But what's happening is, I'll say, like, if you are in your like second or third year of business and you're not noticing any exponential growth, essentially, then it's probably because you are swimming in a red ocean. Now, for those of you who have never read The Blue Ocean Strategy, a red ocean is basically in a bloody space. It's a space where everyone is fighting for the same territory. Everyone's, I won't say not doing the same things, but everyone is trying to use the same strategies on the same customers or the same people within an audience. And so you find this a lot nowadays because there are a ton of authors, there are a ton of branding coaches, I'll speak for myself, who we're trying to reach the same exact people. And to be realistic, one person is technically only going to hire one brand coach. And so when you find yourself in this bloody ocean of not just being in the same profession, because there's nothing new under the sun, but if you're trying to target someone who is already connected to someone who is doing what you do, then maybe you should consider thinking outside of the box in a way that will allow you to continue to walk in your passions and purpose and explore and exercise your talents and your gifts and what value you contribute, but in a different way. So today I want to share with you some tips. I want to first start with my own real life example because that's what this show is all about. And then I'm going to hone in on about 4 different points on how you can step out of a red ocean into a blue ocean in 2019. 2019 is all about the blue ocean, sweetie. I don't have no time to be drowning in no bloody ocean no more because that's what I was doing. And I think that's what many of us are doing. You always hear people say, well, you know, it's going to be a ton of makeup artists. It's going to be a ton of photographers. There's going to be a ton of chefs. There's going to be a ton of branding strategists. There's going to be a ton of authors. All of these are facts. But it is so important. If you want to thrive this year, you're going to have to step out of the red ocean. The red ocean is pretty darn comfortable because it's easy to get comfortable. It's easy to look at what everyone else is doing and try to duplicate the strategies. If this is your first time listening, I am not a full-time entrepreneur anymore. What happened was I had been doing full-time entrepreneurship for about 2.5 years. And when I tell you it was a complete struggle now, I've been an entrepreneur collectively for almost a decade. This last 2 years up until this past September, end of August actually, I was doing full-time entrepreneurship because I could not find a job. And before I actually found this job, I was one of those people that was like, I'm not made to work for nobody else. I'm not going to work for nobody else. I'll hustle and I'll figure it out on my own. And I hear a lot of people saying that. A lot of people are more focused on their exit strategy than they are performing to their best ability on their 9-to-5s. I was guilty of this. So listen, I'm not here to judge. I'm just telling y'all how it works. So I had filled out like over 100 job applications on Indeed during my time of being a full-time entrepreneur. And when I tell you nobody called me back for even an interview, nobody called me back. So I just felt like, okay, maybe God was trying to tell me that I just needed to push through with this whole entrepreneurship thing. But it was such a hassle, like getting people to pay invoices. I felt like it was always a hassle to try to get clients, no matter what classes I took, no matter what advice I took, no matter what strategies I tried to duplicate from someone else. It just did not seem to work. Finally, God handcrafted a position for me at a company. I got a call back. I got the first interview before I got home. They had called me back for a second interview, offered me a job. On top of offering me a job for a position that they had created just for me, the one reason why they actually picked me over other people that had more experience in that particular industry was that I had marketing and branding experience. So here's the first aha that I got from that was, okay, you spent almost a decade building your business. It wasn't as successful collectively as you would have hoped for it to be. But here now, you got handpicked because you spent almost a decade building what this company obviously is lacking. So this was like first tier 1 of offering value in a blue ocean. So let me clarify. I stepped out of a red ocean, which at the time was me just chasing the same types of customers and clients as everyone else, me trying to duplicate everyone else's strategies, right? And I stepped into a blue ocean, meaning I stepped away from the typical audience that most people would tell me to try to attract female entrepreneurs, single moms, digital entrepreneurs, creatives. And I stepped out of that red ocean, which is so very crowded. And I stepped into an industry that no one would think, I didn't even think I would overpass. If I knew what type of business it was when I put in an application, I probably wouldn't have applied. So now here I am working in an industry that is completely opposite of the place I was before. And now I am able to, point number 1, write this down, hone in on my best skills, marketing, branding, in a broad perspective. So I had all of these skills. I've learned so much. I've been able to do so much for myself, for my clients over almost the last decade. And now here I am stepping into a company that has the funding. They make the money. They make millions of dollars, like they make millions of dollars. And they lack the very thing that I was fighting to show people I had in my red ocean. So here I am now in my blue ocean. There's no one in the position that I have. There's no one else in the company that can do what I am doing for them. There's no one else with the same skill set. It's just me. So I'm not fighting for territory. I am not fighting people to pay my invoices. I am able to do what I love, but in a blue ocean, which means I've gone from swimming in a red ocean where I wasn't thriving to working for a company, which I like to call my large scale client. I'm offering the same services and I'm getting paid multiple ways from one ocean, which is my blue ocean. Again, no one else in the company does what I'm doing or offers the same value as I do, right? So you want to offer your skills somewhere where your value is increased immediately. It was essentially like I walked out of this crowded space where my value was so decreased because it was so many of us fighting for the same people, the same exact people. And I stepped into the blue ocean and my value before I could even show them what I could do was immediately increased. So now here is how you move forward, right? So the first point I wanted to make, the first thing is to hone in on your best skills. Know what you are sincerely good at, not what you want to be good at in 5 years. What are you good at now? Where can you get people the most results? And then you want to step out of the space where it's already being offered to so many people and step into a space where someone else or another industry can find value, if not more value than the people you were trying to serve before, and offer them the same thing. So you're not stepping out of your expertise. You're not stepping out of what you're passionate about. You're just stepping into a lane where it's less crowded and where you can offer at a higher level of value. I hope that this is making sense. I hope you guys are following me, right? So the next thing that happened, and follow my story because this is how I'm going to teach y'all through this episode. You want to spread that value in as many places as possible. So here is what happens. Here's what happened with me. So when I first got there, of course, I had specific duties that they actually hired me to do. When they hired me, they basically were looking for someone like me to basically handle contracts and paperwork up to a certain point in the process. I mastered that literally within 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, the company was able to see my value. So I was then able to move into what I'm really passionate about, and that was things like social media, branding, marketing stuff. So now I've become a high-priced asset to this company because I've spread my value in as many places as possible. I'm not only doing the job that I was hired to do, but in showing commitment and consistency in that area, they were able to open more doors for me to exercise my God-given talents and skills. And so the same can go for you. I think a lot of us are at companies that can use our skill set, but we are so focused on getting out of there until maybe we aren't mastering our initial task in opening our mind to think, okay, this company could probably benefit from my business or my side hustle. And so I've got to really show them that I am serious about being here so that maybe that door can open. Now, I will say this, there are going to be companies that are going to be totally intimidated by what you do or what you can offer. In that case, don't let that stop you from whoever said you just had to work one job. So if that's the case on your job or wherever you are, then step into another lane and offer someone completely out of the norm of your target audience what you offer and something that they can find value in. Now, I'm not saying don't be in certain industries or professions, but what I'm saying is instead of trying to target customers who are already swimming in the red ocean, leave them in that ocean or target them as secondary and move into a blue ocean so that people can benefit from what you are offering. So now here is how I have started to not just get one paycheck from the company, but I'm now getting paid in multiple ways from the blue ocean. That is when you add your other skills on top. This gives you multiple streams. So it all goes back to thinking outside of the box. Think about it for a minute, or when you stop listening to this episode, think about an industry that is maybe completely opposite of the industry you're in, and go and check out some of the businesses or individuals who are thriving in that industry. And if they're not thriving in that industry, then see what they lack that would help them to thrive in that industry. Ask yourself, do I offer a service or a product that would help this individual thrive? If the answer is yes, sweetie, move on into the blue ocean. So this is how you are going to really win in 2019 is, I know people say it all the time, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. That's what they mean. And I am now figuring that out. And so as far as my business is concerned, my business is thriving way more than it was when I was doing it full time, because I'm not chasing down clients. I can be selective on who I work with closely. My business is pretty much automated. So even while I'm working at my corporate job, people can still buy my book. They can still sign up for my courses. So I'm still very much so making money there. I'm very much so still passionate about it. And it gives me room to create from a freer mind, a mind of not just offering a service, just because, or not just creating a course just because. I'm now able to understand what my large scale clients, I see what their needs are, and it helps me to create for people who may not have a business as large as the one that I work with. And so I hope that this helps you to wrap your mind around a different way of thriving this year and not just chasing behind the same thing. The blue ocean is where it's at this year. And so if you are in a bloody red ocean, I challenge you this year to take a moment and think about where else could you thrive with the things you're passionate about, with the courses you've already created, with the books you've already written. Who else can find value in those things outside of the people you've been trying to target? I promise you this is going to work for many of you this year. So when it starts working, I want y'all to let me know if you're finding success. Now, I don't want you all to think that, oh, well, if I'm doing what everyone else is doing and doing the same strategies as everyone else, I'm not going to be successful. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you take a moment to evaluate other industries, trust me, there's so many more industries that have been untouched by what you can offer them. And if you just step into those lanes and make it make sense for you, I promise you'll thrive. You'll thrive so much more than just chasing the same old thing. And so that's my challenge to you all as we start this new year. I want you guys to really, really, really go back and listen to this again. Try it. It's literally life-changing. Literally life-changing. So quick recap on our topic, the blue ocean today, is number 1, hone in on your best skills. Number 2, step into a blue ocean and offer those skills somewhere where your value is immediately increased. Number 3, spread that value in as many places within that blue ocean as possible. And 4, add your other skills on top to give you multiple streams or multiple opportunities within your ocean. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I was so excited to share this with you. Don't forget to check out the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy, which the link is included in the description. Go check it out. Make sure, guys, that you review, subscribe to the show, share this episode with a friend. I'd appreciate it. Maybe if I get enough shares, I will do a giveaway in the next episode. So make sure you all are subscribing, reviewing, sharing this episode with your friends. And yeah, I'm excited. Connect with me on Instagram @OfficialToddy. I think we've got like 3 or 4 episodes until we enter into a new season. So I kind of took a hiatus at a bad time, technically, but we're going to have a good year this year. I'm excited about the future of the show. Y'all just make sure y'all always leave me feedback, give me your thoughts, opinions, and the show will continue to grow. I love you guys so much, and I will chat with you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Table Talk with Toddy podcast. This episode has been brought to you by our sponsor, TotSpot Productions. Be sure to visit NatashaWeston.com to join the conversation, read the blog, and discover more content. If you enjoyed today's show, Head over to the Apple Podcast or Google Play app and subscribe, rate, and review. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Until next time.